Oh, I actually got the garbage bags, believe it or not. They weren't a brand, they weren't one of their own brands. I had to get a brand name, but they're apparently 33% off. There's quite a few bags, about 50 of them for $5, so I suppose it's still right. So I popped into BWS, see if there's any cab sabs what I could get, and the prices are just ridiculous compared to Liquorland. They just don't compete. It's funny because my understanding is that West Farmers who own, oh no, sorry, not West Farmers, Woolworths own Dan Murphy's. Dan Murphy's is excellent price-wise, but they obviously figure they can rip people off who are just doing the supermarket shopping, and for the discerning drinker, I'll go to Dan Murphy's to get the right price. Seems to be the system, but whereas Liquorland is a bit better. Damn busy along here. We got. Oh. Yeah, anyway, it stopped raining. That's good. It's a bit clearer now, so that's good news. One thing I always do get at Woolworths compared to Coles is their bakery stuff, the rolls and what have you. They're much better quality, in my opinion, than the ones you get at Coles. So just bought half a dozen of those. They're generally on special anyway, so it's quite good value there. And also the spaghetti's cheaper too. So it's you just got to mix and match between the different supermarkets and you can reduce your costs. And I guess it adds up over the year because most people would spend at least $100 or so individual maybe on shopping per week, maybe more. Now I'm probably a fairly frugal shopper, so I imagine my shop is about 100. I can't remember what I put in my figures there, but I think I probably estimated it'd be about 5,000 a year, something like that. So if you reduce that cost, then you're improving your bottom line quite a bit. So if you've got the time to be able to go to different supermarkets, it'll be even easier once they finally build the Woolworths at Cairns Central. But I'm not holding my breath. Could get delayed again, who knows. But can only hope. I'm desperately in need of a haircut. I couldn't be bothered going to the hairdresser. They're probably fairly busy because they're cheap, only about $15 a haircut, so yeah, I might see if there's a cheap one in Cairns Central, because I mean I just need a trim on the back anyway. It's pretty basic. I should do that, just I just don't feel up to walking the whole distance to go to a barber. They're not that far from here. Well, that was successful. Went to Liquorland, got myself a $10 bottle of Blanc, quite reasonable. I think the cheapest at BWS would have been about $18. Huge difference in price ranges. And look, $10 or $12 bottle of wine is quite acceptable quality over here. Mind you, get pretty cheap wine in Europe too. So you know, I think a lot of it's snob appeal. I'd love to know what the blind tastings come up with result-wise. I think a few of the people paying ridiculous amounts of their wine would probably find that they're not that great. My taste buds are a bit stuffed at the moment anyway. Had a bit of medication, it's not helping at all. It was very busy at the shopping mall, a lot of people there. It's amazing how busy it is. Much busier than down where Woolworths is. So this is definitely one shopping mall that's doing extremely well. So bucking the trend of a lot of the ones, especially in America. There's lots of zombie malls over there. They're just people just don't go shopping that way anymore. Maybe they do more online shopping, not sure, but shopping malls are out of vogue in the US, and they are in parts of Australia, but not up here. This is a fairly modern mall here though, so I guess, and it's air conditioned, and that's a bonus in Queensland of course, although it's not a hot day today. The weather's been quite reasonable. think about the top is about 27 degrees, pretty well ideal. I don't feel the humidity. It's probably here, but I'm just used to it now. It doesn't feel as oppressive as if I just come straight from living in Melbourne for a number of years. I've sort of transitioned because I lived in Southeast Asia for so much time. So it doesn't worry me. I just don't feel the humidity nearly as much as I used to. So it's amazing how the human body can adapt like that. It's quite good. Well, it's a very pleasant Monday morning around 9:30, and just heading off up north along Lily Creek again. And of course the insanity in Victoria just continues on. I checked the headlines before I left, and the latest thing is that they're trying to get legislation through in Victoria that will enable not only police but public servants as well to be able to arrest people who they regard as high risk. So it's a very broad definition, high risk. I mean, what does that mean? These are incredibly wide, draconian powers that Andrews wants to introduce for police up until May next year. This is just unbelievable. The man is insane, in my opinion. He's drunk with power, and this is definitely the sort of thing you'd expect in a totalitarian state. This is not the sort of legislation you expect in Australia. And of course that pussy in Canberra, Morrison's doing nothing about it. He's been absolutely pathetic. It's a time when we really need strong leadership from Canberra, because someone needs to put Andrews in his place. And he's just out of control, and he seems to know no bounds when it comes to restricting the freedom of the Victorians. He seems to even relish it. It's bizarre. So, yeah, I don't know. It's not going to get better for Victorians until they get rid of him, I think. I think it's that toxic now in Victoria with this guy in control. They've got to start standing up for themselves, their own rights, because he'll just basically grind you into the dirt. And who knows, I mean, people could be knocking on your door at any hour, and they regard you as a high-risk person. A public servant can do it, can come to your door and basically arrest you. This is just, I mean, talk about dystopian. And I thank my lucky stars that I'm up in Queensland. I've got issues with Anastasia. I think she's pretty bad, but in comparison to Andrew, she's an angel. This is insane. Anyway, that's the main news for today. I just concentrated on one story because I'm going to be occupied for the whole day. I did actually edit a special video that I mentioned, which is actually a second in my cooking videos. I don't know if anybody would be interested, but it ended up being about 18 minutes. I'll try to reduce the length a little bit because that's pretty long. But I've just done a basic edit this morning, so I could get that one out today. But I'd like to get this news out before I do anything else anyway. So I've still got a little bit of footage from the walk and talk I had previously. So what I might do is make that the top priority, get the news for today out, because it is very important news. Most people would expect at some stage that Daniel Andrews would pull back, but he's not. He just doesn't seem to be interested in that. He just seems to be getting off on really making life a misery for Victorians. I'm walking around here without a mask. I don't have any hassles from cops. You rarely see cops. You hear the cop cars, that's about it. I mean, my beef here is there's not enough policing. That's the irony. But in Victoria, of course, there's no lack of coppers. They bring in retired coppers in. The guy's just out of control. I don't know where they get the money to pay all these people to. I mean, I think Victoria's going to really go down the drain. Its economy is going to take a huge hit over all this. Money doesn't grow on trees, and well, I don't know. I mean, I heard it from a friend. I heard that they had to worry about getting home, making sure that the cops didn't come, and they had to have a cover story to say that they were a carer, which they have done for the friend that they saw, so they could basically cover the fact that they'd left their home and ventured more than 5 kilometres. I mean, it's really treating people like children. It's just pathetic. Can't be an adult in Victoria. But mind you, I think Victorians have got to stand up for themselves too. They've been rather indifferent about it, so I think it's time that they made a stand. And a bit of that old Eureka spirit was brought back, because it's sadly lacking at the moment in Victoria, in my opinion. So that's my take anyway. It was good. 2 people while I was on the Lily Creek walk said hello to me. It's a nice thing about Cairns. It's not like being in a big city. You do get people who are more open and got more time to chat. So yeah, it's always nice to get that. I don't generally initiate it because of my crappy eyesight, and it makes me a bit difficult with social interactions. But that was good. Oh yeah, I've got to actually look for a replacement oven. My oven actually died on me late last week, and I just looked up a few, and there's a Westinghouse for about $600 or so from Harvey Norman. Might be the go. Got to get rid of the old one though, and I'll use Bees Electric, or presumably I'll need to get an electrician to have it installed, but I'll go down to Harvey Norman when I'm feeling up to it and get it sorted. I might actually get a electric fry pan in the interim, so I can at least do my spuds. That's probably the biggest problem I've got. I can't cook the spuds. I don't use the oven for a lot of things, but I do use it for that quite regularly. And I imagine I'll be able to brown them up in the electric fry pan. My mum was brilliant using electric fry pan. She made the best spuds you could imagine. I sort of only with meat. It only generally worked with beef. She wouldn't work when she's cooking chicken, but beef in particular, must be the juices in beef allowed the spuds to really get really heavily cooked with quite a bit of flavour. She cooked them in the gravy. That's what was different. So the actual spuds soaked up the gravy, which really made them very tasty, especially when they were crisp as well. So it was a great combination, but I haven't been able to duplicate the way she cooked them. I've watched her cook and I thought I got it worked out, but it's probably just a matter of tweaking. You just got to work out what to use. And of course I'm using, always using olive oil these days rather than some other. So you might have been using lard, for instance, I don't know. That could be part of the equation. But I always use olive oil because it's a healthy option. I've been doing that for probably 20 or more years now, and I've got no qualms about using it. I think you've got to go to the healthy option, especially when you get to my age. But yeah, these spuds were to die for. She really had a knack of making the most amazing spuds. So yeah, I'll have to go. The actual electric ovens, the fry pans are only $30 at Kmart, and so it's not exactly expensive. I was thinking about buying one yesterday, but I didn't feel up to carrying it back home. But I might do that in the next few days, and then I'll have a bit more versatility. But yeah, it'd be nice to have a decent oven. And apart from anything else, it also means if I want to sell the place, it'd make it a lot easier to sell if you've got a good oven in there rather than a crappy old one. So a lot of things to think about. But and of course, holding cash is not doing me any good at all. Cash is yet 1.5% on my best returns. It's not good, considering inflation is much higher than the official rate. I think Martin North's spot on with that. That's very true. I was also making some dire predictions about real estate in Victoria, and yes, I think the writing is on the wall. There's going to be an investor exit especially in apartments and what have you, so there's going to be a shortage of apartments. But then again, there might be a lot of Victorians just leaving town. I don't think that's being hyperbolic at all. Please consider subscribing to my channel if you think there's anything there of use to you, or entertainment or whatever. And either do that or give me a thumbs up, or if you're feeling really energetic, do both. That'd be great. But please don't ignore me. That's the worst thing you can do on YouTube, is be ignored.